OpenAI just released GPT 5.4, and there is a lot to unpack here. There are some incredible things, but there are also things I didn't like at all. And as always, I'm going to explain everything in a way that anyone can understand, whether you're a programmer or just discovering what artificial intelligence is. So stick around until the end, because by the time we're done, you'll know exactly whether this model is right for you and how you can use it in your daily life or at work. Hello everyone, I'm Ricardo, and this is AI Editorial for All. If the news about AI feels overwhelming, you're in the right place. I filter the noise and explain what really matters, fast and clear. Let's get into it. Today we have a big topic. Let's start with the good stuff, because there's plenty. The first and perhaps most important thing is that GPT 5.4 is a unified model. What does this mean in simple terms? Before, OpenAI had separate models for different tasks. If you wanted great writing, you used one. If you wanted coding, you used another. It was like having a toolbox where the hammer was in one room and the screwdriver in another. Now with GPT 5.4, everything is in the same place. This model combines the creativity and writing ability of GPT 5.2 with the advanced programming skills from the GPT 5.3 codex model, all in one single tool. For you as a user, this means you no longer have to switch between models depending on what you need. You can ask it to write a professional email and 5 minutes later ask it to build you a website, and everything works within the same chat. Let me give you a practical example. Imagine you have a small bakery business. You can ask GPT 5.4 to write product descriptions for your menu with a warm and appealing tone, and in the same conversation, ask it to create a simple website to showcase those products with photos and prices. Before, you needed two different tools. Now it's just one. The second improvement is something that personally excites me a lot. It's called real-time interaction while the model thinks. Let me explain why this is so useful. Before, when you asked the AI something complex, you had to wait for it to finish processing everything. And if halfway through you realized you forgot an important detail, you had to stop everything, delete it, and start over. That wasted time and tokens, which is basically money. With GPT 5.4, you can interrupt the model while it's working and add additional information without losing what it already did. It's like talking to a human assistant who's writing a report and you tell them, hey, I forgot to mention, also include the third quarter data. And the person simply adds it without having to start from scratch. This is particularly useful if you work in marketing, consulting, content writing, or any job where projects constantly change and you need to adjust instructions on the fly. The third new feature is anticipatory planning. Before jumping into executing a task, GPT 5.4 can generate an action plan or a work roadmap. And here's the important part. It shows you that plan before starting so you can review it and tell it whether it's on the right track or needs adjustments. Why does this matter so much? Because before, the model would just dive in and start doing things. And if the direction was wrong, you had already wasted time and tokens on something useless. Now it's like hiring an employee who, before getting to work, tells you, here's my plan, boss. Does this look good to you? And you can correct it before any resources are spent. A practical example. Let's say you ask GPT 5.4 to help you organize a product launch. Instead of writing everything at once, it will first show you an outline with the steps: market research, audience definition, publishing calendar, estimated budget. And you can say, perfect, but I want more emphasis on social media and less on email marketing. Then the model adjusts the plan and executes exactly what you need. Now, the fourth improvement is probably the most futuristic one, and it's native computer use. GPT 5.4 can operate your keyboard and mouse autonomously. Yes, you read that right. The artificial intelligence can literally browse the internet for you, send emails, organize your calendar, fill out forms, and do bulk data entry. Think about this. If you're an entrepreneur who spends 2 hours a day answering repetitive emails, scheduling meetings, and updating spreadsheets, you can now delegate a big part of that to GPT 5.4. It's like having a virtual assistant that not only thinks but also takes action. You tell it, I need you to find the 3 best packaging suppliers in my city, schedule a meeting with each one this week, and send them an introductory email. And the model can do all of that for you. Obviously, this should be used with caution and supervision. You're not going to give it free access to your email without checking what it does. But as a productivity tool, it's a massive step forward. Let's move to the fifth improvement. The context window is now 1 million tokens. If you don't know what tokens are, think of them as the words or pieces of words the model can remember in a conversation. Before, GPT had a more limited memory, and if you fed it very long documents, it would get lost or couldn't process them all. Now, with 1 million tokens, you can feed it gigantic documents, entire books, complete annual reports, and the model can analyze them without any problem. To put this in perspective, 1 million tokens is roughly equivalent to 1,500 pages of text. That's approximately the length of 3 Harry Potter novels combined. So if you work with lengthy legal contracts, financial reports, or any kind of extensive documentation, you can now upload everything at once and ask the model to analyze it completely. An example, if you're a lawyer or work at a law firm, you can upload a 100-page contract and ask it to identify all the clauses that could be problematic. Or if you're a student, you can load all your semester materials and ask it to create an organized summary by topics for your final exam. The sixth improvement is what I call the office work revolution. GPT-5.4 can now create downloadable files from scratch, like fully designed PowerPoint presentations and functional Excel spreadsheets with formulas included, all with a single prompt. Before, the AI could help you organize the content of a presentation, but you had to take that information and manually build it in PowerPoint. Now you tell it, make me a 10-slide presentation about the quarterly results with charts and a professional design, and it generates the file ready to download and present. Same thing with Excel. You can say, create a spreadsheet to track my business expenses with formulas that automatically calculate monthly totals and a percentage change column, and it delivers it ready to go. If you work in an office or run a business, this can literally save you hours every week. The seventh improvement is that it has fewer hallucinations. Hallucinations are when the AI makes up information that sounds convincing but is completely false. This has been one of the biggest problems with all artificial intelligence models. Well, GPT 5.4 has a 33% reduction in hallucinations compared to GPT 5.2. On top of that, it now overcomes basic logic problems it used to fail at. Remember the famous strawberry test? It was a test where you asked how many letter R's are in the word strawberry, and the model got it wrong. It seems simple, but it revealed a deep problem in how the AI processed information at the character level. Now GPT 5.4 handles this type of logic correctly. This is important because if you're going to use AI to research data, draft reports, or make decisions based on its information, you need to trust that what it tells you is accurate. A 33% reduction in errors is significant, although it's still not perfect. My advice is always to verify critical information, but at least now there are fewer chances of getting made-up data. The eighth improvement is that as an agent, it's much more efficient. When GPT 5.4 needs to use external tools, like searching the internet, accessing databases, or connecting with other applications, it now does so using fewer steps and fewer tokens. This translates to tasks being completed faster and costing you less money if you're paying by usage. And the ninth and final positive improvement is that it excels at advanced programming, especially rapid creation of two-dimensional and three-dimensional video games. We're talking about Minecraft clones, simulators, and complex games that require development teams. This is incredible for independent developers or people who want to quickly prototype ideas. But not everything is sunshine and roses. Now let's get into what I didn't like about GPT 5.4. And there are several points you need to know before deciding whether it's worth paying for. The first negative point is the price increase, and it hurts. The cost per million input tokens went from $1.75 to $2.50 on the standard version. That's an increase of almost 43%. And on the Pro version, it went from $21 to $30 per million tokens. If you use AI intensively every day, you'll feel this on your bill. To put it in context, if you're a casual user who uses ChatGPT for occasional questions, you probably won't feel it much. But if you're a developer, a company that processes thousands of documents, or someone who integrates AI into their daily workflow through the API, this increase is significant. It's important to evaluate whether the improvements justify the additional cost for your specific case. The second negative point is speed. Although GPT 5.4 has improved its response times, it's still slower than some competitors. For complex tasks, it can take around 5 minutes, while models like Grok 4.2 can be up to 5 times faster by using multiple agents working in parallel. If your work requires immediate responses, or you're in an environment where every second counts, like trading or real-time customer support, this is something to consider. For tasks where you can wait a few minutes, it's not a problem, but the competition is closing in on this front. The third negative point is something that personally frustrates me, and it's that GPT 5.4 ignores tone and style instructions. If you ask it to write in a conversational, relaxed way, as if a friend were explaining something to you, the model tends to keep writing with a promotional, corporate tone, with those phrases that sound like a TV commercial. It also has an obsession with em-dashes. You know those long dashes that are commonly used in English writing? The model puts them everywhere, even when you explicitly tell it not to in the system instructions. It's like it has its own style that it can't break away from. This is a real problem if you're a content creator, a writer, or if you need the AI to adapt its writing to your personal voice. In this regard, I have to be honest, models like Claude from Anthropic and Gemini from Google are still superior for conversational writing and for following style instructions. A practical example: if you ask GPT 5.4 to write an Instagram post with a youthful and casual tone, it will probably deliver something that sounds more like a press release than a social media post. You'll have to manually edit it to make it sound natural. The fourth negative point is visual design. When you ask it to create web pages or interfaces, its aesthetic judgment falls behind competitors like Opus 4.6 from Anthropic and Gemini 3.1 Pro from Google. It also has a tendency to overcomplicate things. Instead of creating a simple web page with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, it tends to default to heavy frameworks like React, making the result more complex than necessary. For someone who isn't a programmer and simply wants a beautiful, functional website, this can be a headache. If you're going to use GPT 5.4 to create web pages, my advice is to clearly specify that it should only use plain HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Otherwise, it will deliver something unnecessarily complicated. The fifth negative point is the lack of real-world context. GPT 5.4 can create technically perfect plans that completely ignore human common sense. Let me give you a very clear example. If you ask it to plan a trip to Cancun for the first week of April, it can create an itinerary with restaurants, activities, and schedules perfectly organized. But it won't take into account that during those dates the beaches will be absolutely packed with American students on spring break. Prices will be inflated, hotels will be full, and the experience will be very different from what the plan suggests. This type of human context, understanding that there are peak seasons, local events, and cultural customs that affect the reality of a plan, is something AI still doesn't handle well. So when you use GPT 5.4 to plan anything involving the real world, always apply your own common sense and validate the information with external sources. The sixth negative point is failures in computer vision. Although GPT 5.4 can analyze images, it still makes mistakes. A documented example is that when shown an image of an AI-generated hand that clearly had 6 fingers, the model said it had 5. In other words, it couldn't correctly count something as basic as the fingers on a hand. If you plan to use GPT 5.4 to analyze product photos, verify designs, or any task that depends on visual accuracy, keep in mind that it's still not completely reliable in this area. Use it as a complementary tool, but not as the final word. And the seventh and final negative point is that it leaves tasks incomplete and has minor bugs. When you ask it to create complete applications in a single prompt, it often leaves minor errors. Buttons that don't work, broken links, filters that don't filter anything. In environments where it works as an autonomous agent, it has been reported to sometimes stop before finishing the task, like an employee who leaves work half done. This means that if you're going to use GPT 5.4 to build applications or tools, you need to review the output and probably fix some details manually. It's not something you can trust 100% to deliver a finished product without human supervision. So what's my final verdict? GPT 5.4 is without a doubt an important step forward. The model unification, real-time interaction, native computer use, and the 1 million token context window are advances that truly change the way we can work with artificial intelligence. However, the price increase, the style issues, and the pending bugs tell me it's still not perfect. My recommendation is this. If you're already paying for ChatGPT Plus, the improvements are worth it. If you're considering subscribing for the first time, evaluate whether the capabilities I described today align with what you need. And if your work heavily depends on writing with a specific style or visual design, consider complementing GPT-5.4 with other tools like Claude or Gemini for those specific tasks. The most important thing is that there is no perfect model. Each one has its strengths and weaknesses. The key is knowing them and understanding when to use each tool. And that's precisely why we're here. That was today's AI update. If this helped you, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who wants to understand AI without the hype. Follow me on Instagram at iEditorial4all and on TikTok at iEditorial4all. See you in the next video.